I will now read the words on the page that is the chart. I won't try to read all of the elements' names because that would just be really hard for me to do. I cannot pronounce most of them, but I will read all they can. This is the second element within the visible range. The intervening 6 have been unknown, and the evidence of their existence, which is clearly shown in the spectrum of helium 500 has been ignored because unrecognized. Element 403 is a negative expanding gas which becomes highly luminous upon impact with a recharging or regenerating higher potential. This gas will be the chemical basis of the cold light of the future. It is the secret of the firefly's phosphorousness. The spectrum of helium, wave length 4922.1, tells the existence of luminon. And you spell that L-U-M-I-N-O-N. This is the first element within the perception of man, and it's pointing to hydrogen, which is at 401 plus. And it says that the stars indicate undiscovered elements located by the author. So he discovered many that weren't known, and he didn't study a chart of the elements. This came to him straight from Creator. The 10-octave cycle begins with an absolute equalization of all dimensions of motion and all effects of motion. Its beginning is its ending. Creation is continuous. There is no beginning and no ending. Its beginning and its ending are preponderant in time dimension, and its middle octave is preponderant in power dimension. Time dimension is low potential of nebulous expanded matter. Power dimension is high potential of more closely integrated contracting matter. The cycle of the elements is evolving from low to high and back again to low potential. And also on this page it says, first 4 octaves of the 10-octave cycle of creation. The entire 10-octave cycle is simply an orderly, periodic accumulation of the constant of energy into higher power potentials at the expense of speed. Now that is what is on this page, and now I will return to where I left off in the last video. Potential of energy means that state of motion of the universal constant of energy in which time dimension has been accumulated by deceleration of speed into power. Potential of energy might be likened unto a compressed spring, which, when released, leaps to its inert state. All of the elements of matter are potentials of energy, held in their respective locked positions by the varying dimensions of their respective positions in their octaves. In order to picture the gradual and orderly transfer of time dimension to power and visibility, and its return to time dimension and invisibility, consider the simple analogy of the easily imagined constant of energy of the little mountain brook, which flows steadily and swiftly down the mountain side. Imagine the little stream of low potential falling swiftly over the cliffside into a reservoir where it is accumulating high potential by storing time. The little stream is the only source of supply and is presumably constant. The variation of its ability to perform more or less work is in accord with the amount of time dimension which has been transformed into power by the storage of time. Forests may be laid low and towns wiped out by the collapse of a mighty reservoir, while far up on the mountain side children play without concern in the stream which filled that reservoir. And so it is with the universal constant of energy supplied by thinking mind. Thinking is the only source of energy, yet the mighty power which is accumulated by thinking the ideal of this universe and registering that ideal in repetitive systems varying in size from those so small that a trillion could circulate in a needlepoint, to those so large that man cannot conceive the expanse of one of them, comes from that one source, and that only. Following is a list of the potential locking points of the entire 10-octave cycle, and the names of the apparently different elements or substances formed by the variation in the dimensions of those locking points. And now we come to another chart. I think I have time to read to you what is on this chart. Tone 401 plus is hydrogen. It is the first plus element of the fourth octave. Hydrogen could not exist without its negative reaction, which is helinon. Helinion. 401 minus. An element of positive charge must have its mate in negative discharge to maintain the equilibrium of this universe of motion. Tone 401 plus tone 401 equals 1 unit constant. 7 tones in 1 octave equal 1 constant of energy. And he has on there stars indicate undiscovered elements located by the author. The entire 10-octave constant cycle is simply an orderly periodic accumulation of the constant of energy into higher power dimensions, which reaches its maximum at the 5th octave, and a distribution of that accumulation through the succeeding 5 octaves. Higher power is accumulated time. The deceleration of speed in rotation of mass is the result of generation. Power is generated by resistance to speed of rotation and acceleration of speed of revolution. Power is thus accumulated from low potential of great axial speed to high potential of great orbital speed. Each element is greater in its mass than its predecessor because of the generative power of electricity, which acts as a brake against high axial speed and diverts it into accumulating mass. The elements of matter are an orderly and periodic accumulation and redistribution of energy. And lastly, on this page it says 4th, 5th, and 6th octaves. In the 4th octave, the so-called physical universe begins with but one of its elements known to man, the element hydrogen. And on this next page, which is not showing yet on the screen, but it will, is the table of the 10 octaves of the varying states of motion, which create the illusion of different substances known as the elements of matter. And I hope that you will be able to see this. It shows the 1st octave wave, 2nd octave wave, and the 3rd octave wave on this page, and it has the names of the elements. So, I will read now what is on the last page here. No, I don't have time. I won't read it. But I will read that at the beginning of the next video. This page that I will be reading is the 7th and 8th octave constants, showing the intruding midtones developed by intense opposition, where magnetic resistance to integration is at its maximum. So that's what will be on the next one.